I shouldn't have said that on camera.
A black man, your ass.
All right, let's get busy. What's up, people?
Yo.
We back.
How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a minute since our last episode. But once again, people, this is Aiight
So Boom.
And here we talk about all the nerd shit in the world, mostly Marvel, but we talk about everything else too.
The good stuff.
The good stuff.
DC has some good news though. We're gonna get to it.
Yeah, cool. But thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Make sure to subscribe, hit the bell for the notifications.
Mm-hmm.
Watch our other shows on the network too. We gotta get your stuff on there, man.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Right now we got the MCMI podcast popping off.
Yeah, for sure.
That's doing well.
And then we have Aiight So Boom, right? We got some more stuff coming for sure. But right now, let's get into this super dope nerd shit.
Right. It's the end of May.
Mm-hmm.
The summer is upon us. We have a lot of content that's happening this summer.
Yeah, man.
We're preparing for Loki. But what happened a couple days ago is Marvel dropped a teaser trailer, people. Do not get mad if you're not satisfied from a teaser trailer.
Yeah, it's to tease you.
But Eterrnals.
Uh-huh.
Not the Eternals, just Eterrnals.
Yeah.
And it has a very epic look to it.
Yeah, what'd you think?
I loved it, man. I'm very, very excited for this film.
When I watched it, right? Like I said I'm going to just like quickly watch this and then I'll like really watch it later, right?
Yeah.
But I put it on, I was like, this is the most un-Marvel movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like it feels like it looks really good, people. You know, when they say, and even the music they chose, like when they talk about, Oscar type superhero movie, I'm like, maybe.
We're used to green screen Marvel films.
Yes.
And they're very good at that.
Mm-hmm.
They're the best, really.
For sure.
But this is not a green screen film.
No, the director, she likes real location shots, it's gonna work.
Imagine
man.
putting the CGI where it matters, right? Give them their powers,
right?
But the backdrop is a real insane location.
For sure.
I really think this film is gonna set itself apart, and they're not stupid. They know we just had Avengers Endgame,
right?
They know you're gonna have to switch it up on them.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Kevin Feige's so attached to this.
And you think about like all of the epic scenes within Endgame, right? They were all on, soundstage with like a gigantic.
Look great.
It did look great.
None of us complained.
This movie is definitely going to draw in people that maybe weren't all the way in on Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
Because of the director.
Yeah.
Because of all of her accolades that she's recently got.
Yeah.
And because it just feels a little bit different. And also, it's something that is, you can get in on the ground floor and not have to have knowledge of anything else.
They know that.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Literally on the movie poster, it says, in the beginning.
Yeah.
Which is just smart. You have an all-star cast.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone on that cast has some sort of crazy accolade.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
In their own right. And they are able to really kind of flip this and create their mythology from the beginning. They showed like the ship coming in, you kind of see that it came in the beginning.
Yeah. Big triangle ship.
Right. We know that they kind of had an influence on culture moving forward. We don't know how far that is, because what you don't want to see is, everything that we thought we did, they did. I don't know how far they're gonna go with that.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting thing. But they showed all the characters. We have our first, LGBTQ character. Brian Tyree Henry's gonna have a husband and a child.
Paperboy.
ATL. You got Ajax. Salma Hayek.
Yeah.
They look good.
Kit
Harington's in there. We got Black Knight in there.
Yeah. I'm wondering how that's going to play out. I don't remember honestly from the comics how Black Knight becomes Black Knight. I'm not sure if it is.
It's a generational.
Is it always
sword.
tied into the Eternals?
He always had a love affair with Cersei in the comics.
Right.
And she.
But wasn't that after? Wasn't that after they became Avengers though? They weren't together before they were Avengers.
I believe that's how he was able to, because he was able to get. This is a little bit spoilery because they may get into the movie.
Spoiler alert.
put one on. But through their love, she gives him eternal life. She gives him immortality.
The Black Knight is an Eternal? Or
she gives him like honorary powers. He gets like honor. So we don't know, because this is a time bending movie.
Yeah.
Is he going to be just in a current? Is she going to bless him with this immortality? Is that going to happen to him as well?
But Cersei, which is Selma Hayek, right?
No. Cersei is Gemma Chan.
Right, but in the from what we see in the movie, doesn't it look like she's in a love affair with Ajax?
You see her with both men. You see her with not Ajax. You see Cersei with Richard Mann's character, Icarus.
Icarus, that's what I meant.
I think that's what you. Okay,
yeah, Icarus.
They have their love affair, but then you also see a frame of Gemma Chan and Kit Harington together.
Oh.
So there's a love triangle, of godlike proportions.
Maybe this is not so much a spoiler as it's like, information to get you enticed to want to see the movie. How about that?
Yeah. I mean, if you're here, you want to know background.
So obviously, this enchanted sword that he gets is from, probably back in medieval times, right? And the Eternals' lifespan is, eternal. Mm-hmm. So maybe one of them pick it up back then and give it to him in the present, or maybe he is from the past, like you said. He gets eternal life from her, and then he follows along.
They could have known their ancestors.
Yeah,
you could have an eye on their ancestors. Mm-hmm. Like, we know your great grandfather, like a Game of Thrones kind of thing.
For sure. Game of Thrones. 2 Game of Thrones characters in this movie, right?
Yeah. Come on, man, that's so dope.
Yeah.
But even at last, kind of went through the characters. You have Kamal, who plays a Bollywood star, who basically, he got all buffed up for it. They introduce everybody. Brian Tyree's character is creating something. Mm-hmm. You see him kind of creating something. You don't know what it is, but, he's like that Mephisto character who's, who gives humans that information. But the last scene they show, is the only MCU connection that they had. There's a little dinner, a little shawarma scene, if you will, and they pretty much, Sprite, who looks young, but she's thousands of years old. Don't get it twisted. They're all ancient.
Yeah.
Says something about Captain Rogers and Iron Man gone. Who's going to lead the Avengers?
Right.
And Icarus is like, I'll do it. And they kind of put that in there to show, no, this is MCU.
Right. Just to tie it all together for you real quick. Don't feel like this is like separate.
I love the fact that they did that, because that tells me that it's not really, you know what I'm saying? Like, we may see some deviant information. We may see some Thanos lineage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, sure. That's what I'm looking for. But aside from that, I don't think we're going to get a lot of MCU. We don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, 2 of the characters within this movie become Avengers. Right, with Cersei, right? Cersei and the Black Knight.
Mm-hmm. In the comics, yeah.
In the comics, so this is just a jumping off point, origin story, which probably you would think that those 2 characters are going to carry over into whatever happens next for the Avengers.
I can see Black Knight doing it.
For sure.
I definitely see Black Knight staying around for a while.
Yeah.
We have Emilia Clarke, by the way, who is casted. She's going to be in Secret Wars.
Yeah.
So we have Richard Mann.
She's a Skrull. I'm calling it now. She's a Skrull.
Maybe. But these actors are just inching their way to the MCU, boy, in major fashion. They're not playing.
Yeah. It's almost like you have to have it. Like now,
right?
Have you been in a Marvel movie yet? No. You're a nobody.
But another point with the whole film is if you tune into our live show, we had a live show a few weeks ago.
IG Live.
Pretty much spoke about all of the releases, and we spoke about China. China being the huge, the population, a huge market. Mm-hmm. If you're a movie, you want it to be in China. Mm-hmm. You may not know it or not, but there's only a limited amount of films that China allows to play on both markets.
Yeah, and per year, like I think they only allow like 8 American movies 10, to be put out there per year, and they carefully vet this for what is going to be good for their
culture.
Their culture, or whatever the government will actually deem proper for the people, right?
Right. So in saying that, the director, Chloe Zhao, she has said some pretty, negative things towards the Chinese government.
Yeah.
And it's been interesting to watch because, once you get into politics, once you have a government saying they turn their back on this director, now you look at Marvel like, are you going to turn your back on the director?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's what are you going to do? Because that's a huge market. That's literally dollars and cents.
It's so weird because like here you have this best picture, best director,
Academy Award
winning director, where that gives you notoriety, that gives you more, what's the word?
Leverage.
Not just leverage, but like more clout, right? With the general public.
Definitely.
But then it hurts you within the Chinese market.
Yeah.
So which one is more important, right?
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
It is. I mean, because we would definitely assume that it would happen, but it didn't. It's not going to happen. And Shang, the other film, Shang-Chi is another film that we assumed would be in the Chinese market.
Listen, guys, I've been saying Shang-Chi my whole life, and I've been told that it's wrong. Shang-Chi.
And we need to be more sensitive to these things because the whole reason why they're turning down these films is because they feel culturally sensitive and they're feeling that a lot of these the villains are negative tropes of Chinese characters and the Mandarin. And so there's another conversation about culture. And as Black people, we know what it is to be appropriated and disrespected culturally.
Yeah. And just, viewed in not... that's a thing, right? You can't say somebody's name wrong. It's insensitive. It's culturally insensitive for you to continue to say it. It's like, well, that's what I heard. That's what I've been calling him. That's what I'm gonna call him. Nah, you can't do that. You gotta do it right.
Agreed.
And treat people and cultures with respect, right?
Agreed.
So from what you're saying is most likely these Marvel movies, especially the Eterrnals, is not going to be playing in the Chinese market.
More than likely not.
That's a blow, I think, less for Eterrnals, which is, a multicultural movie,
right,
than for Shang-Chi, which is all about that culture. And that those people there, knowing about this, whether the movie's allowed to be seen there or not, they know this movie's happening.
Right.
And for them to say we're being represented culturally around the world by the Americans with this movie,
right?
This is our Captain America for the most part right now.
Yep. And
we don't get to see it. So how does that play with the public's view of the government? Right. You're not going to let us see this movie,
right?
Or maybe the government's like, no, it's trust me, it's buffoonery. They're representing us wrong. You don't need to see it.
Right.
It's really interesting. It's all really interesting.
And because Marvel is on top. They will see the film anyway. You know what I mean? It's not going to go under the radar. I don't know. It is an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. But stay tuned. We're definitely going to cover those projects
for sure
as it gets closer. The next topic that we're going to bring up is my man Dave Bautista, man.
Batista.
Army of Darkness is on Netflix now.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen it?
I have not seen it.
I haven't seen it either, but I'm hearing that people really want Zack Snyder, who made this movie, to really stay in this realm because he's really good at it. It's really exciting. It's it has the horror aspects, but it's a lot of fun too.
And Ghost is in it. Amari Hardwick.
I was like, Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp? Nah, Ghost from Power.
Ghost up in there. So shouts to him. Mm-hmm. But I don't know about that. But he stood out in this film. But he's doing a lot of press. So they're asking him about Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah.
James Gunn is returning from Suicide Squad to back to Disney to do the third installment of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And he was told, he told everybody, let him know, he's not coming back after the third film.
Yeah. It's interesting as to whether he got the news that he wasn't doing another movie, or if he decided he wasn't doing another movie, right? Mm-hmm. Like, did James Gunn say, listen, we're switching up. The Guardians are going to be a different team after this.
Right.
You're either going to go off and do your own thing. The character is either going to go off and do his own thing, and you won't, be a part of this franchise anymore, or we're going to kill you off.
Right.
We don't know yet. But it's really interesting for him to come out and say something like that, especially knowing how Marvel is with information
and storylines.
Yeah, and he's not one to Batista's not one to play by the rules when it comes to, keeping your mouth shut for the most part.
Right.
I mean, he doesn't go around giving away spoilers, but when James Gunn got fired, he was definitely super vocal about it. So, it's interesting to see if this is a play by him or if he's just like, they're killing me off anyway. I might as well just, spill the beans and let the world know, or the other movie companies out there know that I'm going to be available.
That's a good point. If Marvel had a direct plan for him and a direct death for him, I think they would have let him know that. I don't think he would have made that announcement.
Yeah.
Personally, he knows that. I think he's a veteran at this point. I think he would have done that right. I think they never hit him up. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. He had a contract for a certain amount of films, because when you have these Marvel contracts, you have individual films and team up films that you sign off for.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? So he signed up. He did his duty. He mentioned his body. He mentioned not really. He's going to be 54 by the time. Giving props to you, actually.
Yeah.
Props to Dave Bautista for having his body that right.
For sure.
To be able to be Drax in his 50s.
In his 50s, yeah.
Because that's not an easy. It's easy to say he just doesn't want to work out. It's easy to say that, but nobody wants to work out at that much at 52.
At 50,
or 54.
You're right.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Also, the makeup, right? There's so many people that just don't want to have their face painted, let alone their entire body. And then he has that the raised tattoos all over.
His is extra detailed.
Yeah, it's gotta be super annoying. Like, you're probably in the chair for 12 hours getting all that put on before you even go shoot, and then you got to do that part of it. It's like, geez, man.
All those millions of dollars you're making. Wow.
I mean, listen, I can understand. Once you're in that realm of making all this money, to say, I'd rather do a movie where I can sit in my trailer comfortably, right? And then when it's time for me to shoot, go out and shoot, 100%. and then go take a nap or whatever. 100%. But you got all this makeup and stuff on. Oh, you can't sit this way, you can't sit that way. You can't sweat it off. It's a lot of work to wear all of that stuff, and that's why people, the two characters that played Mystique, were like just clamoring like, yo, I don't want to wear all this makeup. Can you give me more scenes when I'm just me, or something else? And
they're coming down. Believe it or not, the first Guardians of the Galaxy, the process was exponentially longer than the second and third, because they're just during time try to make it more efficient. But it is definitely more tedious. And listen, you do these movies so that you can demand more money outside of wearing the makeup. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
So he paid his dues so that he can say, listen, I'm a Marvel character. I'm charging this.
Yeah.
I wore the makeup. So props to him. Whatever he's gonna do. He's not the best actor, but he's a big dude, charisma, and if you give him the right script with the right environment, he'll do his thing.
Yeah, he's funny. He plays his role as Drax well. I'm interested to see what his character is like in the was it The Walking Dead? Is it Walking Dead? Army of
It's Army of Darkness? Army of the Dead.
Army of the Dead. See, that's what I knew there was a dead in there somewhere.
I'm saying Darkness. It's Army of the Dead.
Yeah.
There's definitely dead in there.
So what else we got?
Well, the HBO drama really stood out this week.
This is about what? Yeah.
Shouts to Cat. The HBO drama with Warner and Time Warner, and there's so many acquisitions and companies owning companies. But to break it down loosely, what happened was Warner Brothers decided to release the entire 2021 movie slate in the movie theaters and on HBO Max simultaneously.
Right.
Which is sounds crazy enough, but they did that in the public. They did not alert the directors, the creatives, the investors. They did not alert the content creators of these films.
Wow.
So was insanely disrespectful. Imagine you're putting money in. You're Christopher Nolan, who said his basically statement was, I woke up one day, I was working for the greatest movie theater, and I woke up the next day, I was working for a horrible streaming service. And so they pieced out to Warner Brothers. These are huge films like Dune that are multi-million-dollar films funded by Legendary Pictures that are all of a sudden going to be put out on a streaming service.
Did Christopher Nolan have anything except Tenet coming out?
Not on the schedule that I knew of,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, Warner Brothers. Those his people.
Yeah, I get that. It's just that Tenet was to come out at a time. I mean, obviously they could have pushed it back, but so it was so anticipated,
Yes.
right? And this is early COVID,
Mm-hmm.
so they had to put it out some way, and it wasn't coming out in the movie theaters. Christopher Nolan, you know, while he has a right to feel that way. I don't see any other way. Was it 8 months ago now that Tenet came out? At least that his movie could have came out before, you know, this summer. I just don't see it.
His beef wasn't as much because Tenet he wanted his film to be the first pandemic film. He wanted, of course, nobody thought it would drag out this long.
Right.
But he had his movie set up with Warner Brothers so that we can get these theaters back open. So there's no excuse for not telling them.
But he was under the assumption that we wouldn't have been going through it this long.
There's no excuse for not telling the creators that you're going to do
No,
that.
not at all. Not at all.
He's been in bed with them for many, many years, you know, and
yeah.
I'm sure if he doesn't have anything we know about, he's working on something
For sure.
for the near future. So yeah, it was something that was from a backlash standpoint, it was horrific on a business level.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want your creatives cursing you out in public, and they all scathed him. James Gunn, I ain't working with y'all no more. I ain't working with y'all no more.
Wow.
You can't have directors because they run these films.
Wait, so is Suicide Squad coming out simultaneously, or is
Yes.
that really?
Everything this year we can watch on our phones.
Yeah.
And they don't we like that. They do not like that.
Yeah.
This is not good for these huge Goliath companies.
I mean, especially when in your contract you're getting a part of the box office, and then when the box office is halved or even quartered, you know, that means way less money for you, right?
Oh yeah.
Whether it be the writer, the director, or the actors, because a lot of time the actors. I mean, just look at how mad would Robert Downey Jr. be if, because you know he has points in his contract depending on how much money the movie makes.
Oh yeah.
So if it doesn't make that money in the, how do you quantify? It's the same thing that we go through with Spotify and Apple Music and all of that stuff.
It's royalties.
Or even with podcasting, right? Like figuring out what is a podcast worth, or how much are you supposed to give me for this? And then if it's coming out on your streaming service, you get to set the parameters and the rules.
Yeah.
It's
very tricky. It's very tricky, but it comes down to the fact that you have to respect your creators.
Your creators. Yeah.
You have to respect your creators. Like you have to keep your creators happy. And that's not, you know. So basically, that part of Warner Media was owned by AT&T. Mm-hmm. Right? AT&T, we know, is not a entertainment company.
No.
Right? So you can kind of, you know, fill in the blanks that from a corporate level, you have people who aren't creatives making decisions that affect creatives.
I was always under the impression once it became HBO Max and all of Warner was part of HBO, that HBO, or either HBO owned Warner or Warner owned HBO. But it's not that. Right. It's that AT&T is basically licensing the Warner catalog to HBO.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, because they got the guap.
Yeah.
So that's why they were able. That's why, if it wasn't the case, Blitz, that never would have happened.
Yeah.
That lapse of communication never would have happened. They sold that part. You know, AT&T does not have it anymore.
Yeah.
You know, the shareholders said we liquidated our. You know, we got our shares out the way.
Who did they sell it to?
Well, the Discovery. This is the thing. The whole Discovery Plus.
Mm-hmm.
That department now owns this element.
This is all very weird.
It's very, very weird. It's very, very weird.
I mean, it's business. That's what happens, right? But needless to say, HBO don't cancel my subscription.
Yeah, right.
It was kind of effed up of you guys to just step on everybody's toes and not tell them what you were doing.
Yeah.
Before you did it.
King Kong made some money, you know, but they really cut their creators at the knee. So we'll see what happens in 2022 if we get back in the theaters. You know, we're opening up slowly.
Yeah,
You know,
I think by next summer, it's back in the theaters. You know, if you guys held on to your AMC shares, good for you.
Yeah, right.
Keep holding.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hope you don't have a mortgage. But that was a interesting set of news. It's more on the corporate level, but listen, these affect the streaming services own us right now.
Oh yeah, for sure, and people have been conditioned.
Oh yeah.
To care more about their streaming services than anything else at this point. So
yeah. But yeah, this is Aiight So Boom. We want to make sure we're giving you the update of what's going on. Once again, this is we're entering June now.
Yeah.
So it's a new month. We're about to enter the summer season. The piece of news, I don't know if you have anything else you want to bring in, but the last thing that got me excited, Blitz, and this is from DC. DC has been getting, we got to give a moment to DC, right? Marvel is doing the damn thing, right? So anytime DC does something great, we have to give them their props.
Yeah, for sure.
And this is an announcement that got me, I don't know if another DC announcement got me this hype since the last probably Batman, Matt Reeves project.
Do tell.
DC announced an Injustice animated movie.
I like it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Injustice is my favorite storyline from these characters.
Yeah?
I believe so. To get me amped, like a version, I love seeing versions of the norm, right? So it's good to have, as a comic books company, you want to mix up your characters and give them a different...
I would say that Zack Snyder's verse was probably the closest you could get to an Injustice, especially with his, I read somewhere that... the nightmare scene that he had put into the Snyder cut of Justice League, that he is actually trying to create a buddy cop movie between Batman and the Joker, where in his own Snyderverse, separate from whatever DC is doing in their main universe. Which would fall kind of in this realm, right? But yeah, Injustice is amazing. I played all the video games. I watched all of the clips of it. I looked at some of the comic books. I didn't really read the comic books, but the video games on the PS4 were amazing, and I really enjoyed the twist of the characters. At least of Superman. I think that's the biggest twist of all of them, right?
I mean, I read the comic book. It's one of my... I love that comic book. I could read that edition over and over. This is what happened. The concept of Injustice is Superman is tricked into killing Lois Lane, who is pregnant with his child. Joker hits him with this kryptonite gas. Throw some little scarecrow fear venom in there. So he gets this. He thinks Doomsday is up here. So he's punching Doomsday. Meanwhile, it's he's beating the shit out of Lois. It is the most insane comic book in the world. So you're just feeling this. He comes back to Earth, Batman hits him up like, yo, don't do it.
Yeah.
He comes back to Earth, kills Joker immediately.
Yeah. And
changes his entire philosophy.
Yeah.
His entire philosophy shifts, and he becomes a whole Clark Kent, Kal-El done. He becomes a whole new man.
Yeah.
And every character shifts because you take sides. Batman versus Superman's team.
Who takes Superman's side and who takes Batman's side? Right.
Love it. Love that story, man. But they've been able to, like you said, produce a very successful video game series from this comic book. And this animated film, we've been following the DC films. They've been doing everything but this.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for this.
Yeah.
Y'all doing Apocalypse, y'all doing this and that. Give me Injustice. Just give me Injustice. So that's what's been announced. I really hope the animation style really stands on its own. I hope,
I wonder if they'll just do straight from the comics, or if they'll pull a little bit of the extra stuff that they would do in the video games, maybe with some of the gear that you can get, or stuff like that. But
that's interesting.
Those characters are different and thought out in the twist that of this what if universe that they built for them. I like it.
It
I like
tweaks
it.
their moves. It tweaks their personal philosophies.
And DC's been killing it with animated forever.
Yeah.
I don't know that one.
My Alexa's talking.
You said Disney, didn't you?
I said DC.
Oh,
and
DC. She's like, what are you talking to you?
They've been killing it with their animated stuff.
Yeah.
Batman has a new animated feature.
Yeah, Long Halloween, I believe.
Yeah, the Long Halloween, which is like one of the most popular Batman stories.
Yeah.
That we thought we may be getting in this new Batman movie that's coming out. Right now, we just know that the villain as the Riddler, and we know that Catwoman's in it, and the Penguin is in it as well. Right?
They did release. They released another trailer a few weeks ago. Were you able to see it?
Yeah. So
they definitely released This is going to be a very interesting Riddler. I'm very excited to see this edition of the Riddler.
yeah, it's so not jokey.
Yeah, exactly. It's not Jim Carrey's Riddler.
And based on the Zodiac Killer, apparently his look, which makes sense because the Zodiac Killer left clues for you to try and figure out, who he was and what he was doing and stuff.
Dare I say, we are, we don't want to compare all the time, but the same way, Heath Ledger's Joker revamped that character. We're not putting these expectations on this film because I want Matt Reeves to do his own thing.
Yeah.
But I do love the reinvention.
Yeah.
Because when they reinvented and showed a thuggish Joker with Heath Ledger's face, I was sold. So I'm hoping they kind of do that, change it up and make Riddler scary. That would be...
I mean, of Batman's rogues gallery of villains, I gotta say Riddler has always been my least favorite because it's just like, joke. Come on, man. Like, what are we doing? Why do you have question marks all over your green leotards? Why are we doing this?
Agreed. Which is smart for him to focus on and just kill.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm with you. We're getting rid of all of that and bringing in a new character that is asking relevant, real questions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like he's not, his questions aren't just to see if you're like, wittier or more clever. Like, I'm asking these questions because I want you to try and figure out why are you doing what you're doing. And understand why I'm doing what I'm doing, and maybe I'm sick and twisted in my head, but there's a a reason to my rhyme.
Yeah. Yeah. We also have Chloe Kravitz, Zoe Kravitz, playing Catwoman, who's actually going to be Carmine Falcone's daughter.
Ah, I didn't know that.
Following that, there's that storyline, that DC storyline that they're following closely with this film. So that, to me, that makes it just a lot more intriguing. A criminal's daughter being Catwoman makes a hell of a lot more sense.
For sure.
I'm very curious to see. We've only seen her in this little cloth, frame. I hope they give her more than that.
I think this one, honestly, and he may be setting himself up to make sure that he gets a second movie.
Yeah.
Matt Reeves. Simple. So it's going to be like this is year 2 Batman, right? So we're getting year 0 Catwoman. Yeah. Like, this is not Catwoman. This is just Selena Kyle trying to figure out who she's going to become.
Yeah, makes sense. Colin Farrell is playing a Penguin character who pay attention to that performance because that is going to be a standout performance in that film. For sure. He does not look like Colin Farrell.
No.
When they casted Colin Farrell for Penguin, everybody said, huh?
Well, when they casted him, I said he's not playing the normal Penguin. He's playing the new 52 Emperor Penguin. I don't know if you remember that character, but they had made a new version of the Penguin that was called Emperor Penguin, right?
How do he look?
He looked like Colin Farrell, but with blonde hair.
Oh, I'm not familiar with that.
Right. So, for them to now... But obviously, once I saw the trailers and saw him, I was like, okay, he's playing traditional Penguin.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So,
It's like Matt Reeves definitely has a certain vision that nobody knows until we see it. So I'm very excited to see that. I'm very I'm not the biggest Pattinson fan. I honestly, as seeing him as Bruce Wayne, I wasn't even happy. The Bruce Wayne that he showed. To me, but I'm just holding on.
It's year 2. Once he had the suit on, I was like, okay, I can see it.
The suit had to grow on
man. And he can grow into the role. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think it could work.
Yeah. Well, this summer, we have a lot to look forward to. Starting June the second week of June, we have Loki coming on every Wednesday, and we will be covering it on a weekly basis.
Yeah, we'll be here every week running that down. And, Loki did a little press release trailer and said, Wednesdays are now the new Sundays, and changed everything up on us as Loki would do.
Right.
I thought that was pretty cool.
That is interesting. You're right.
He's like,
That's
you know what?
mischievous.
Let me get some changes around. It's Wednesday now.
Yeah.
The
show looks expensive.
Yeah.
The show looks it looks like it's action packed. It doesn't like we'll be just waiting for things to happen. I kind of have a feeling it's going to just happen.
Mm-hmm. It should be fun to watch. I wonder what version of Loki we get coming out of this. Mm-hmm. Will it still be him? Will it be, young Loki? Will it be female Loki? Will it be all the Lokis?
Yeah.
Or will Loki just go away? Like, is this his swan song of it all?
That's a good question.
As
far as Tom Hiddleston's concerned, I give him a lot of props. Staying around this long, he was the villain of the first Avengers movie, which is old school at this point.
Yeah, man.
For him to have Endgame killed off in Infinity War, nobody was mad he was dead because he was here long enough.
He almost got a reboot, if you think about it.
Bringing him back in Endgame, and then Disney Plus is your channel. That was the best alley-oop I've seen for somebody's career.
Yeah.
He's like, you're fired? Okay, cool. I'm good. Cool.
It's super interesting because everything that happened since the original Avengers movie is just wiped out when it comes to him. So he doesn't have that arc of becoming, more sympathetic character anymore. It's gone.
Right.
And now you just have to think of him as exactly what he was at the end of the first Avengers movie.
Right. And they're going to be looking at his whole life.
Yeah.
So a cool part about the Loki series, like they're going to revisit, just like Endgame did. They're going to revisit what we know from these characters in the past, and kind of put these timelines together and help them fix it. So I'm excited. I'm excited.
Oh, I'm not.
Disney Plus hasn't failed us yet.
Nah, not at all. Not at all. Have you been watching Bad Batch?
I have been watching Bad Batch. It's the only reason, like I was saying, for us to cover it here, it's more of a kid's show to me.
You think so?
I think so.
I don't think so. I just started watching it, and maybe
I'm glad you're watching it,
guys. If you are into Bad Batch, let us know. You dictate what we do here 100%. For the most part. Not really, but kinda. You can't tell me what to do. But if you guys are really into Bad Batch, let us know, and we'll totally dig deep into it. I personally, I haven't been able to watch the whole thing, but I watched, I think, the first 2 episodes, maybe 3.
It's like 3 out now.
Okay, so I think I watched the first. I might have watched the first one full and maybe half of the second one. It doesn't feel that kiddie to me. It just feels like they are leaning heavy on Star Wars mythology, where you may need to know a lot of that or care a lot about that in order to care about this show.
Right, they do start expecting you to know at least about the clones and
right. And they don't even give you the, they should at least give you the
intro.
Give me that
and
talk about what's happening and why we are where we are.
It's funny you mentioned that. The Crawl, it's called the
Crawl. Right.
The Crawl is purposely not going to be in those shows. Because the Crawl, Star Wars folklore is very it's like hollow ground. That Crawl can only be for certain Star Wars properties.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, they're like, we're gonna give everybody the Crawl. Everybody don't get the Crawl. But we think about that because we're used to being explained that way.
At least explain to me why we are here.
Right.
Because I might not have watched, Clone Wars in the past, 5-6 years or however long it's been out.
Yeah.
But they probably don't want to give you that because everything's on the network. Just go back and watch it, right?
Pretty much.
Give them more streams.
Yeah. But I enjoy it. If you're watching it, we're watching it too. If you want us to cover it, you let us know.
Yeah. I like the show. I like the characters. the Bad Batch,
Mhm.
are they all the same voice? Are they all voiced by the same person?
That sounds like that.
I'm just asking because they're basically all supposed to be the same clone, right?
That's true, but no, I don't think they're voiced by the same person because they're supposed to have the Bad
Because
Batch.
if so, that actor is amazing. Like he's doing really a
He's
lot,
doing
a lot.
a Boondocks Regina King kind of thing.
Yeah.
No,
Or
I don't
what
think
was
so.
that other show that the woman that's playing She-Hulk now? She had a show where she
Oh,
was
yes.
of multiple characters, right?
That's why I fell in love with her.
Yeah. I never watched that show. I should, right?
I did, yeah.
What's-
yeah.
do you
I watched
remember-
one season of it. I forgot
What's the name of it?
I'm blanking right now. I'm
Something-
blanking. She has a long name, and I'm blanking on the show.
Something Black or
Orphan Black.
There it is.
Orphan Black.
Look,
She
I never even watched it. I know the name of the show better than him.
She plays a whole. If you watch that show, you know she can act her ass off. She impressed me with that.
Cool,
She
cool.
plays different characters. So her as She-Hulk. That's another Disney Plus show. I mean,
Yeah.
we're gonna be just drowning in these shows, man. Aiight So Boom is gonna get so big. Just
Yeah,
'cause of
man.
that.
You guys get, blow us up. Watch the show, subscribe,
Yeah,
get the notifications, everything, and leave comments. Let us know what
Please.
you like about the show, what you don't like about the show. Let us know what you want to see us cover, because there's, so much nerd shit that we don't cover. But you let us know what you're into, and maybe we'll cover it. And if not, too bad for you.
Yeah, for real. We didn't ask you anyway.
Yeah, we kind of did.
Oh damn.
I just asked him.
Oh, you did. Well,
Anything
let's
else?
wrap this up, man. Let's
That's
get to
it?
the summer, man. It's nice outside.
Yeah, man. Let's go outside. No mask. No, maybe that.
6 feet. No, okay.
Anyway, guys, this is Aiight So Boom. I am LR Blitzkrieg.
I am the Marxman.
Like we said, make sure to come back, subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications, tell us what you like, what you don't like, and we'll see you soon.
Very soon.
We have a special episode coming up soon.
It's coming.
It's coming, guys. You're gonna like this.
Don't tell him.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
Later.
Aiight So
Boom.